Welcome everyone. In this video, our goals are to review the difference between a spline, control point, and a segment. We're going to demo how to select segments as well as how to assign meshes and how to delete unwanted segments. So this one is all about segments. The last couple were about control points. We're on to segments now. Again, let's make sure we are on the same page. So I am in my splines map located in my content landscapes maps folder of my content browser. And then over in the modes panel, we've got our landscape mode selected. The manage tab is selected under that, and I have my edit splines tool selected underneath that. And last but not least, we are working in our splines layer, not the base layer, so make sure that you have your splines layer selected. Okay, with that, again, a quick review. Control points are these mountain icons. They indicate the various bends, the points that make up your landscape spline. The segments are those pieces between your control points. Now, you just saw me click on one segment. That is how you can select a single segment. To select all segments, you've got a couple of options. With one selected, you can hit Control plus A as in Apple, and that'll select all of them. Or, just going to click off there. If I select one segment, over in the details panel, I've got a button to select all connected segments right there. And by clicking on that, I now have all segments selected as well. Okay, let's talk about how to slot in a mesh for a given segment. I'm going to start off by selecting just one segment right here. And over in the details panel, we've got an area called landscape spline meshes. This is where you can slot in a mesh per a segment. And I got to do it by clicking on this little plus button here. And if I expand out this triangle, it allows me to slot in a mesh. I could put in my Scott Pine there, like we did before with our control point. And now you can see I had two Scott Pines fill in that segment. Now, why is that? Now, it's compiling shaders there. The reason is because depending on the length of that segment, it's going to slot in however many meshes it needs to fill out that given segment. Now, this is all well and good. However, if I was creating a row of trees, I might just assign them to my control points instead, so I know exactly how many are going to be spawned in. For something like segments here, I usually like to slot in like pieces of track for like a road, something like that, or a pathway. So I'm going to change my mesh here to floor 400. Now, in another video's time, we're going to be actually slotting in a racetrack sort of thing, but this will get the idea across. This particular mesh is in our starter content folder, and if I slot this guy in, you can see how it actually brings in a few different static meshes of a flat panel, if you will, to fill in that entire segment. And of course, we've got material overrides here where we could override that material, huh? All right, I'm just going to quickly undo this a couple times. Hit Control-Z once, hit Control-Z twice, and now we've got no spline meshes assigned. In fact, I'm going to do the trash can here to remove all elements there. Okay, now let's try assigning meshes to all of our segments here. So I'm going to select a segment. Then I'm going to select all segments by clicking on this segments button right here. They are all selected. Now under our landscape spline meshes, let's add an element. And this time, I'm going to slot in something a little bit different. This one is in the engine content, and it's called cursor. I've got to select this first. Let's do a search for cursor pointer. There it is. It's kind of this cone-shaped looking thing. This is in the engine content, and if you don't see this, you can come under your view options and make sure that engine content is checked on. Okay, I'm going to select this. Now you can see I've got a whole bunch of these cones kind of pointing one way. That's kind of cool. I don't know, maybe use that for a sort of decoration, right? Now, you can actually flip these spline segments. Make sure that you've clicked in your window here, and I've just right-clicked to activate it and move around a little bit. If I tap the F is in flip key, I can flip those meshes around, toggle them left and right. So that's a good mesh to kind of demonstrate that. And now, lastly, if you want to delete out any of your spline segments, it's just a matter of clicking on that spline segment, hitting the delete key, and boom, that spline segment will be gone. Uh-oh, you want to rejoin it? Well, remember, it's as simple as clicking on a control point and then holding down control and selecting another control point, and you'll fill that right back in. All right, guys, that is going to do it all for this video on spline segments. In the next video, we will explore the mesh settings for our different spline segments. We will see you there.